Hello, how's everybody doing tonight? What? How's everybody doing tonight? Awesome. Welcome. Pretty excited to have everybody here tonight. If Yuri's in the crowd, we need you at the front, buddy. Need you at the front. Okay, welcome everybody to Pitchitto City Hall. Today's our 5th City Hall event. And you guys can socially follow us, tweet us, send out some love at hashtag Pitchitto City Hall and all of our other spots that you can see up above. Today's agenda, we're going to have 2 companies pitching. We're going to have a panel, a couple of speakers, and lots of fun networking after. So we're trying to keep it on track. We're a little off, but we wanted to get everybody in, so we're kicking off now, which is looking good. All right, so as everybody starts to make their way in, there's seats down on this side as well. Feel free to grab a seat there at the front. We just need the 3 front seats. Let's wait for some people to get seated here. All right, so in the heat of summer, the heart of the startup community in Toronto, I welcome all of you tonight to our event. We're excited to be here. We're excited to be working with you guys. And one of the things we want to do to kind of keep that energy going, can I get everybody to stand up? We're going to do some jumping jacks. Nah, I'm just kidding. So it's a quick story. A few years ago, maybe it was a long time ago, maybe a decade or 2 ago, who knows. Some of you may know this story, but when I went into a meeting one day, and I was always doing the same kind of thing when I went to an event, meeting, anything. And what I found was it always a good way to connect with people, make someone smile, it gives you some energy, gives them some energy. And I walked into this meeting, I turned to everybody, and I started giving everybody the high five. And the one person turned to me and said, "You can't do that, this is a meeting. It's very immature." And unfortunately, myself, I turned, and you know what I said? High five. So I probably didn't come across, maybe I didn't win the sale, but at the end of the day, I was still able to be myself, and that was about having fun and meeting people the hard way or the easy way. But the high five was powerful, it works. So I welcome you guys to here. I'm high-fiving you, so high five everybody around you and enjoy yourself tonight. Make it count. Real high fives. The best part of that, thank you guys. You can take your seats. So the best part of that high five is that I was in a couple of months ago, I was in Mexico, in Chihuahua, on behalf of York Angels, and we were there to welcome in a new cohort, and we were watching a lot of startup pitches. And I was there to speak, and I was one of the only English-speaking people, and which was fun. I threw in a little Spanish, but it's a little rough. One of the startups enjoyed the high five so much that he emailed me after, told me he put it in a deck. He had a presentation to do in front of 100 people, and he said that's how he started off his pitch to the Mexican Angel Network. And he said it was awesome, they loved him. So maybe that's your next little thing when you guys are going to pitch something to get everybody excited and into what you're doing. So I thank you again. So a little background on who we are and what we do and why we're here today. This is overall, in all the events that we run, this is our 46th event over the last 2 years. We've worked with and entertained thousands of you, including hundreds of startups. And what the great thing about this is that it's all about the Toronto ecosystem and how we all work together to help improve each other, to grow, to be part of this great system and city that we call Toronto. So in saying that, this is actually our 32nd pitch event, which is pretty exciting. Every time it gets better, every time I say it. So at Pitchit and OPN, What we do is we want you to spend less time trying to find money and more time growing your business. And what that comes down to is pitching lots, getting in front of a lot of people, and we want to be that source that helps you guys do that. Some of the upcoming events to look out for, we have Pitch at York on August 14th, Pitchitto on August 16th, which is at the Lodge at 251 Queen, which is also a great partner of ours. On September 19th, we have the Up Sales series, which runs out of Durham. October 3rd is Social Media Day in the GTA. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. We're also going to be running a couple of in-house events, which is Lake Ridge Healthcare. We're going to be running a pitch event there on October 23rd, which will be pretty exciting. And another one, we're going to be doing a second first look. We ran our first look in Durham a few months back. It went really well. I believe we had 22 startups that were showcased. I went for a couple hours. Everybody got to come up and do their pitch and a lot of great networking. So we're going to be running another one on December 3rd. So we're excited to have you guys join us at that as well. If you're welcome to drive there, it might be in Peterborough. So that could be a bit of a jaunt, but it'll still be exciting. So the Social Media Day is going to be on Wednesday, October 3rd. You can do a little search for it. We're big fans of what they're doing and what they're going to be doing, so it's something to take note of. Tonight we have a really cool group with us. Toronto Business Academy, where are you guys? Wicked. So this group came to us a few months back with an exciting new venture that they're doing. Well, they've been doing this for a couple years. But what's exciting about what they're doing is that they have 65 students building startups from over 30 different countries. And that's who's here tonight. So we're excited to be working with you guys and being able to have you at our event. So thank you very much for coming. Some of the great companies that have worked with over the last 2 years, and we hope to get all of your companies up here as well. So one of the things that comes up, and I guess I should mention, why did we start all this? What is this all about? Well, at the end, the biggest piece is that we wanted to help you guys get in front of angels and be able to practice your pitching. And we do that by working with you on the side, in the background, getting you organizing and setting up your business fundamentals and everything to do with your business to get you pitch ready. And when we do that, that allows you to get in front of here when you're showcasing and on the road looking for money. And some of these angels are going to be the ones that would invest in you. So today we want to thank our sponsors. Hardboot, which is my custom software company. I can't even talk about it. It's terrible. I stumble talking about my own company. We build custom software, so yes. The City of Toronto and Startup Toronto here, they came on as a sponsor about 4 or 5 months ago, and this is the reason why we run all of our events, or a lot of our events, at City Hall. So we thank them for becoming sponsors and supporting our day. Mama's Pizza, and there will be pizza provided at the end, so they rock too, right? Yeah. Mama's always good to you. Steam Whistle Brewery, they're awesome. They provided the beer. Hardboot provided the wine, so it's a great mix. And Symbol, they've been with us a long time, and they're a great group of salespeople helping you grow your business, and we're big fans of them as well. Thank you. Our partners and sponsors, we have Clear Vision, Strategy and Marketing, Flow Water, now that one's a tiny logo. I'm going to have to blow that one up. Blockchain Fortress, Miller Thompson, our legal, Barskin and Parr, our legal, IP Patents. So if you guys are looking for any of these people, they are in the crowd, and they're more than welcome to talk to you guys, but thank you very much for being partners and sponsors of our event. A little bit about myself. My name is Jeffery Potvin. I'm your host. I obviously, as you guys can tell, I pace a lot. It takes me a while to calm down the nerves, but give me some time, I'll be there. Outside that, you guys can look me up on LinkedIn. There's a profile that talks about I'm an investor and the things I do. So you can check that out. But most importantly, my business partners, Angelo and Frank. These guys are awesome. These guys are so awesome that in 2016, Angelo, the gentleman right there, he was Angel of the Year. He has sold his company in the past, worked for the government for the last 20 years. He has helped a lot of startups in his time. And he passed off the torch to Frank, who is now 2017 or 18 Angel of the Year. Frank's up there. And these guys Frank has also bought and sold companies in his time. He was at Rogers, sold a company to them, and now he has spent the last 3 years with Angelo working with a lot of you in startups. So they bring a lot to the OPN team, so I'm excited to have them as partners and being part of what we do. So thank you. Big shout out to the guys that have been helping out and being part of our team. We have Katerina, Laura, and Brian, Mike. Where are you guys? Right there. On the disco DJ side, thank you very much, guys. And of course, to the team that's been helping put all these events together, Katrina, Laura, you guys are awesome. Thank you, and Brian, for all your hard work on filming. So just to give a quick snapshot of some of the things that we've been doing. We've been working on our fund and growing that. So to date, we have invested in 7 companies, part of the Supporters Fund, and we're working this year to make our way up to, by the end of the year, in early next year, that in 1 year we'll have invested in 15 to 20 of you startups. So we're pretty excited about that. On the accelerator side, we wanted to announce that we're going to be launching a second cohort, which will be starting October 1st. And we'll be bringing in 3 companies. We keep it niche and small. So you can send an email to, which is up there, hopefully it's big enough to see, info@opn.ninja, and just put in the subject line, second cohort, just so we understand what you're looking for. We'll send you some paperwork and we can get the ball rolling if you have an interest to join what we're doing to help you guys get ready for funding. And you can also look for more information. So that's the accelerator side. And there's the email. So, one of the cool things that we wanted to do last time, we gave away TFC tickets. They haven't been doing as well as they should be after winning it all. So we felt that you guys would be upset if we did that again. So what we're going to be doing, if you guys can, text OPN to the number 93411, which is through text box, and reply with your name. Once the information comes back, reply with your name and your favorite number, and we will be picking a winner, and you will have dinner or lunch of your choice with Frank and Angelo, so you can pick their brain and figure out what they look for, and it's a great way to connect and network with them. So if you guys have an interest to get investment, they're probably 2 great guys that you want to talk to. And I can arrange dinners with these guys too. I think they're interested. So text away, and hopefully we guys can pick a winner so you guys can all enjoy dinner with Frank and Angelo. Hopefully you guys all put your card in at the door. We'll do a couple of draws for some funky t-shirts, your best 11, and so that we can also market the hell out of you. I'm just kidding, we don't do that. But we do want to get your information if we can. So feel free to join into our contest. All right, so the reason why we're here today, why we're doing this, it's all about the pitch. Being angel investors, we sit on the opposite side of the table, listening and learning from all of you that pitch. In the last 2 years, probably seen thousands of pitches, and we've kind of figured out what the formula is that kind of gives us a better view of what's inside your business and how it operates. And that's where a lot of the time what these guys are doing is they're trying to tell you their entire business in 11 minutes. So that's our format. You have 11 minutes, 1 minute each from the advisors, and then from there it's 5 minutes of Q&A from the crowd. So you guys can build up your questions, and I will moderate around and grab your questions, and they can answer for those. So today our advisors are Yuri. Yuri is from the National Angels AIO. Is that right? Am I screwing that up now? What is it? National Angel Capital Organization. NACO, that's right. Why did I mess that up? I think it's because I've been working so much with the other guys that I've been confusing it. I might need them. Well, it was a good one. It's okay. It's all right. You're going to be able to correct all that when he's talking to you guys, so it's good. Pratha is from Maple Leaf Angels. She's also great at what she does, and we're happy to have her. And Jay, you're a good guy. Thank you for coming. As being part of York and Spark Angels, you're also a good guy and helping me coach through this. I appreciate all your help. So before we get started, Rupinder, I'd like to have you come up and say a few words.
Sure. Hi there, I'm Bhupinder. I'm a partner at Breskin & Parr. We're sponsoring this event tonight, and actually we've just signed up to sponsor OPN in general for the next, at least the next 6 months, and hopefully for the next few years. So, known Angelo for a few years through York Angels, and met Frank recently, so we're excited to be part of this. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an engineer and a lawyer. I've been doing this IP thing for about 20 years. I've also gotten involved in a few startups. I've tasted some failure. I've also tasted some success. And I find that that's actually the most exciting part of my day, the clients where we get to work as advisors. My partner, Tony Orsi's here, and he tends to get closely involved with tech companies. We work as a firm with people that are literally in their houses and their garages. I've actually been to garages and looked at products under development. And we also work with the largest companies in the world, particularly on our branding and cybersecurity and that side of our business. And the most fun we have is the companies that have moved on. They started off like you guys with pitches and ideas, and they've moved up to the point where they have some investment, they have some revenue, and we really enjoy helping them build that business, working with their funders, working with them to identify valuable parts of their technology, helping them build their brand, protect that brand. Tony and I in particular are involved on the patent side. And we work with people to identify valuable technology, patent it sometimes, keep it secret a lot of the time, help leverage it, license it. I spent the whole day today working on a license agreement that will probably produce more revenue for one of our clients than all of their sales for the past 5 years. And we help them look for opportunities to do that. We also look for companies where we can act in an advisory capacity. So one thing that we offer the partners that we have, like OPN and some of the others, is that if you have questions, feel free to give us a call. We're happy to talk to you, spend a few minutes helping guide you on concepts around intellectual property. This stuff is really key. There are a lot of timelines that you have to meet, and if you let your ideas out of the bag before you protect them, often it's a little too late. So give it some thought early on. There are often very effective ways to protect your brand. In particular, make sure that your presence in the marketplace is not compromised and that you've done your homework before you finalize how you present yourself to the world. Often people just talk about patents when they talk about IP. These days, honestly, we spend more time talking about branding with some clients and dealing with cybersecurity and copyright issues. So as you build your presence in the marketplace, keep in mind both to protect your technology and how you present yourself to the world is very important and very important to do early on. So Tony and I will both be around for a little while after this event, having some pizza, and happy to take any questions and chat with you. All right, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. So at OPN, we also love to educate and help, and our partners bring that to you guys. So we appreciate anytime we can get someone to come up and chat about what they do and educate you guys a little bit more, especially on the patent side, which it is a pretty stringent thing to look forward to. So who's going to be pitching today? We have 2020 Armor and Paddle. So first up, we're going to have Ali come on up. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Thanks, JP. Thanks, Angelo. And thanks, Frank. Judges, I'm excited while JP kind of sets me up to share my vision with you. And to all the people here that maybe it might be your first time coming to an event like this or thinking about starting a company, it's something that's very exciting, something I'm very passionate about, and you can see by JP, something he's very passionate about. And take the opportunity to talk to as many people as possible. No one's going to say no to talking to you, so do not be shy. Am I good to go? I like the mic, yeah. The controller? All right. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm kind of like JP. I get a little excited, talk a little too fast, but I'll try my best to slow down a bit. My name's Ali. I'm founder and CEO of 2020 Armor. And I have a very intimate relationship with this business that I'm involved in. That's me on the left, not getting kicked. That's me coaching. I've been involved in martial arts for over 25 years. I was on the Canadian National Taekwondo team. I was a board member for Taekwondo Canada, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. This is my fourth business. So there's 240 million people that practice martial arts. That's a lot of people. And when kids train, when we train, we wear this vest. So this is a bunch of kids wearing vests in Taekwondo class. And when we spar, we literally have to guess when a point happens. It's like running the 100 meters and guessing what your time was. Or someone else mentioned today, guessing that you actually got past 100 meters. And that's actually a fundamental problem because kids quit early by not knowing their progress, right? And martial arts is the only sport that you could take that instills skills like self-defense, anti-bullying, and these are core life traits that translate into future parts of your life, personal life, and business life. And parents value that a lot. And so parents are frustrated when kids quit early. Obviously, the kid, they don't really know, the effects of it until later on in life. And the club owner, our customer who we sell to, is frustrated because retention is the #1 business metric they look at, or they keep a focus on. Okay, so why is it complex? These are the rules you have to keep in your mind in real time when you're fighting somebody. It's impossible. You just can't do it. So the problem is actually solved at the Olympic level. This is what we use when we compete. But there's a lot of components there. It's very expensive, $5,000 just for a pair. That doesn't include the operator that you need to run the thing. And in a class, there's one instructor and 30 kids. Okay, you don't have time for Bluetooth to go down, wrong version of the operating system. It just has to work. So even to pair people up, 2 competitors to go up together, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, right? And you got 30 10-year-olds running around. Just not possible. The club that I trained at downtown, we had half of the national team members, 8 out of the 16. We don't even have a system like this because of the cost and complexity. Okay, so what have we created? We created a vest that's super easy to use. It has 4 buttons, just like a video game controller. We've made it affordable for the masses, so instead of $5,000, it's $399. And that sync-up process that takes 10 to 15 minutes that makes it impossible to use in a recreational program now looks like my video is not working. JP, you promised me, man. There we go. You bump and sync, and that's it. So that would have taken 15 minutes to do that. So what you can see is a couple things on the vest. Thanks. You see a scoreboard. So the red lights is one person's health bar. The blue lights is someone else's health bar or your opponent's health bar. And the center ring is a timer. Now, if you ever played video games, you know exactly what's going on, right? Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, everybody can understand the scoring. So now we've made the scoring something that kids can relate to, that they can understand. You can track exactly what's going on. We've made it easy to use, so you can actually use it in a recreational program. Out of the 100 members in a school, 98, 99% of them are recreational. Only 1 or 2% compete at the high level. So most of the people are recreational anyways. And And then so we made the scoring easy to understand. That's fantastic. Oh wait, I forgot my next slide. This is pretty cool. Let's hope this plays. What'd you do? You just push this one? A health-based system. You have 100% health. The harder you hit, the more health you lose. Once you lose all your health, you're finished.
That's like Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited.
Street Fighter, not Mario
My
Brothers.
money's still on you.
2020 Armor's sensors calculate the overall strength of the contact. Each time the chest protector takes a hit, the health level depletes accordingly. And with all lights flashing blue, it's evident Yvette is the winner.
You can clearly see who the real winner is. I know it's easier to follow.
Wow.
That's really
Wouldn't want to meet you in a dark alley.
Yeah, that's her. Yvette, she's really cool. She's a world champion, our athlete ambassador, and she's pretty badass. She just won a tournament last weekend, and so it's great to have people at this level represent our brand and want to see the sport go in this direction. So if we just solve the problem of the scoring and making that easy to understand, we'd have a fantastic product. But we went one step further. We built in 10 different training modes that track things like your power, your stamina, your reaction, all core things that you need in any martial art, and gamified it so that kids can enjoy it. So here I am in class with kids. They're practicing their stamina, and they can also go head to head. You can wear it. You can put it on a punching bag. So it's very versatile. And again, all of this is built to keep students practicing longer and increase retention. And by retaining one student, just one student for 3 months, a vest has paid off for itself. The average club membership is about $120 a year. So the ROI is very quick. We've got quite a lot of traction in the short time we've been around. We incorporated February 2016, got $1.2 million in orders. I'll describe how that breaks down on a further slide. We're delivering to customers today, and we've done this with zero hiring of sales and marketing staff. So we come from this industry, we come from this world, so when I post something on social media, it can get through to our customers much quicker. We've got the Adidas family, the actual family members of Adidas as investors, got the largest distributors in North America as distributors. We've been on Dragon's Den, we're in the process of Shark Tank, and yes, we have our patent covered. Very proud moment. Me and one of the grandchildren of Adi Dassler, the creator of Adidas, being signed on to the Adidas program. So, business model. So we have the vest, we sell that first, and get that out to market, get the value to the club owners and students. And then after that, there's a whole bunch of data that actually comes out of the vest. So you tap your phone against it, pull out all the data, monthly recurring revenue source attached to that. Then, unfortunately, in the United States, there's a lot of unqualified instructors, so they could use our vest as the foundation to build proper programs for training, and we can sell video series for that. And then finally, the last product is this professional vest that would compete with the system I showed you earlier. And a lot of the angel investors ask, is this another wearable? I say no, because it's not like a general public product that you use to measure your heart rate and then you kind of forget about it. This is something core elemental to the sport that you need. So I akin it to like if you've gone fishing with GPS and without GPS, you wouldn't really go without GPS anymore. So our product is in market, providing value today. I've shown you some clips, and these are some other very happy customers. In terms of market, it's very, very large. I'm just going to show Taekwondo for now, and then we can extrapolate to the other sports. There's 80 million practitioners. This is what the World Taekwondo Federation reports to the International Olympic Committee. 100 members per club, so that yields 800,000 clubs. We're getting about 6 orders, 6 vests per club right now. So if we got every single club as a customer, it'd be $1.9 billion. That's not realistic, obviously. I'm going to break that down in a second. What happens naturally next is once this becomes a standard training system in a club, students want to own their own. It's kind of like when you take boxing classes or yoga classes, you don't want to use the sweaty stuff anymore. You kind of want your own. Same thing here. And because this is affordable and easy enough to use, they end up buying their own. So if we had every single practitioner buying it, $32 billion. Again, people pitching for the first time, don't ever use those crazy numbers because no one believes you. This is why, because in realistic numbers, this is kind of how you get to something that some people will believe believe you for market size. So for Taekwondo only, for hardware, what I did was I broke down those numbers in insignificant ways. I cut it in half because I said half the countries probably have not enough GDP, so took out the bottom 100. Then I said they probably increased those numbers, so inflated the actual participant number, so I cut that in half again. And then I compared it to the revenues of what the Olympic vest that I showed you earlier. And then I said, okay, if we do 5% of that, I think that's something realistic. And that's actually 500,000 students and 83,000 clubs having our product would get us $400 million a year of hardware sales only in Taekwondo. It's not including software, not including the other martial arts. Okay, so that we're specifically focused on going to Taekwondo North America first. The way we're doing that is through our distributors, through my own social network, my athlete ambassador social network, tournaments, trade shows, these sort of things. Then apply that same logic and formula to Taekwondo in Europe and Asia, then karate, then MMA, then boxing, and Muay Thai. What's interesting that came out of it, out of our Dragon's Den episode, is the military approached us. Never thought that, didn't think about this because we've been so focused on our own market, because soldiers go through basic training, and in basic training there's a combative section, and they want to know how that actually the soldiers are doing in terms of their power, strength, and so on, to determine if they should be out in the field or not. So again, 80 million Taekwondo, 50 million karate. When you add boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, it's over 240 million. It's the same, actually a little bit larger than soccer. And we can see how big soccer can get. So these are how the orders break down. We've collected $250,000, another 60,000 in deposits, and 1.1 million in LOs and POIs. Reason that number is large is because they come from bigger orders, our distributors, large clubs, and franchise and associations. This is the team, serial entrepreneur, fourth business, U of T computer science degree. My other co-founder, Tony, has 6 successful clubs in Vancouver. He's vice president of Taekwondo Canada, over 1,200 students. And then William was in the U.S. national team and over 25 years in Taekwondo. I got 30 more seconds, JP. I'm almost done, I promise. And then Charles helps scale our product overseas internationally, or manufacture it, internationally. He got people like Professor Jung, who's an Olympian and vice president of World Taekwondo Federation, as an advisor and someone that I text message whenever I need his advice. And then Yvette Young, you already saw her, and she's a great representation for the company. I'm going to skip that really quickly, just how much we raised $540K. So right now we're asking for $700,000. The Adidas company, the Adidas family is have taken 40% of that already. There's $150K available. Due diligence is complete. The convertible note with $3.5 million valuation, and using the funds for sales and marketing, mobile app development, and using a little bit of it for manufacturing cash flow. That's it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, who wants to start? Ladies first. Yuri, just because I butchered your job, your role, so I think you should get to go first. How's that?
Hey, Ali, how you doing?
Good, Yuri. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Nice to see the progress, actually. I think last time we met probably was about a year ago, and good to see that you're doing quite well. In terms of the product, I mean, I have a lot of questions about the product itself, which aren't really that valuable right now. But in terms of your sales, I'm just kind of curious about that. So a lot of those are pre-orders. You said you're still just starting to deliver today.
Yeah.
How many have you delivered, or do you have in this batch? What's your production ramp up look like, and are you making the margins that you thought you would?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of questions. I'm going to go through them quickly.
No. Just keep going here. You can only ask questions. You just have to say.
Oh, I'm not allowed to say anything, right?
That's only the QA.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll let.
Okay. Hey, Ellie. Nice to see you. So I had a couple of comments. I believe the idea for this is really for us to provide you with some advice or guidance on your pitch specifically. So since the last time we saw you, I think your pitch has refined very nicely. The one thing I did want to comment on is on who your target is. You probably want to identify quite clearly up front. I feel like I got a little bit confused. I arrived at it somewhat towards the middle, but I've seen the presentation before. If someone's watching it for the first time, they might not land immediately. You also briefly mentioned your patent. Could you elaborate a little bit more? Not now, but some point later, if this is protectable and such. Your Dragon's Den video was excellent. Maybe you want to lead in with that, because that actually explains the whole story very well. So that's obviously a big win. And if you did secure funding or not, I didn't actually fully grasp that. And you talked about all the great things that you have going for the team and the market, etc. Actually, I think you stressed too much on the market, maybe not for an immediate pitch. But something you want to talk about are some gaps that you have right now, aside from the funding. Along with the funding for angel investors, they like to get involved and perhaps help you on an advisory capacity and see if there are certain areas that they can come in and assist you. And an exit, a potential acquisition. I know you talked about the Adidas family. If that is, in fact, the avenue, maybe you want to highlight that.
Thank you.
And this is why you don't go last. So I had a couple of comments. Just one of the things you mentioned was retention of kids, I guess, in taking Taekwondo. And I would like to just get that number fleshed out a little bit. Like, I know you haven't delivered product yet, but how much is that helping a club? So if they invest in, $3,000 worth of vests, they're able to retain X number of dollars of revenue. I'd like to see that relationship. I did want to know just about the vest. Is there different sizes? I know you had two examples up top. They looked like the same size. They'd be a little heavy for my 7-year-old, but maybe not. I don't know. There was a mention of a patent, so just barriers of entry. What's to stop? You've got Adidas there. They're rivals with Nike. What's to stop Nike to come up with something similar to this that's going to take that on? And that's about it. Other than that, it was pretty good. You did go a little quick, but that's okay.
Thank you.
You only had 11 minutes. Thanks.
Yuri, you going to jump back in?
Yeah, I didn't realize I was supposed to give feedback, so my apologies. The only thing I would say actually is I'll go against what was just said, because my point of view is that videos are always dangerous and a risk in a pitch. So my preference is actually to get rid of the videos. The pictures can kind of tell the story as well. Other than that, I thought your pitch was fairly strong. I would talk a little bit about the accuracy in comparison to other products. That was a question that kind of stood out for me. And and then in terms of the other markets, I mean, definitely, I love the way you're staying focused on the market that you think you can reach. But investors always want to know what other potential applications. So even just having one slide to talk about that would be useful as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we're going to jump into the crowd. Who has a question for them? Who wants to dig in and learn some more? And I can share the mic with you. Oh, all right.
Hi, great presentation. Just one comment I would say is you should actually add the cost of the normal vest compared to this guy. Maybe the normal vest is just $50 or $75. It would make more sense to put it just for the clubs to see how much is the difference between these two. But great presentations, thanks.
Thank you. Did you want to know the price? It's $75. There's a competition slide. 11 minutes wasn't enough. But you're right. Yeah, trying to get that in quickly.
Thank you, Ali. I just want to have one question, which is like, is there a lifetime of a vest? Like how much damage it can bear before it wears out?
Yeah, so there's a standard 1-year warranty, and if it's used excessively, it lasts about 2 years. And it's about 600,000 hits. That's what's done in the factory. 600,000 hits is about 4 classes a day, 5 days a week, which lasts about 2 years.
Hopefully improve by then, so that at the end of the year you're
No,
10
so
times
that's
better?
like abusive cases. Typical, it's going to be about 4 years. And the price point and for that length of time is okay. The market can bear that. And because we have the monthly recurring source to it, that's okay too, if it lasts longer, yeah.
Boy, that's an impressive body of work that you've shown us. My congratulations on your progress.
Thank you.
The thing that interests me is the amount of pre-orders that you have, and I'm interested, what were the terms of sale on those pre-orders?
Yeah, all of them were different depending on the stage that they got involved. So the early day ones were letters of intent, signed paperwork. As the product became more and more available, as we start delivering, we are delivering product. Yes, so I indirectly answered your question. And so as we're delivering product, then I'm asking for full payment. Right now we're out of inventory again, so what I'm doing is I'm doing monthly payments until delivery is ready. So they all kind of fall into these different categories. Now the big guys that are wanting to order in the orders of hundreds, again, there are business contracts that are signed, waiting for inventory to be ready, and then they'll make the purchase then.
Hi, Ali. I think this was a great product. I had 2 comments, questions. One is, for me, I was very curious about the competition side, because you mentioned the higher end of competition, which is the $5,000 West. But presumably, as the market grows, there must be other people who may move from adjacent markets, who may not be into this field, but maybe in other fields, like medical field or other field. So maybe we're thinking through who you recognize as your competitors, because otherwise I feel, to me, it came across a bit that you see only one competitor, even though there may be other ones. And second, it would be great to have an expansion of the software model you described, because with the same hardware, you can enable a lot of different revenue models. And that'd be worth thinking through if that's something you want to do. Like training mode enabled, training mode off, things like that.
Yeah, so yeah, we do have a competition slide. I don't see anyone in the medical field realistically wanting to get into the sports field. They're just totally different markets. There are really kind of two groups: high-level Olympics and dumb vests, like the first slide I showed with all the kids wearing it. $75, $5,000, $400. That's really the market right now. So we're creating this new market. And you're right, that's going to create some copycats. That's where our patent comes in, and we're protected from those copycats by our patent. And even if it comes from the medical field, again, the patent protects that. And then your second question was, I forget. Different revenue models, yeah. So there's a software component. Yeah, exactly. So there's a software component, and then the 3 buyers of that would be the practitioner, the parent of that practitioner, and then the club owner. And they each pay different amounts based on who they are. Yeah. Thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple questions. One of the questions our colleague here covered, but I think it's important to emphasize. Angel investors want to know about the patents and competition, and when a pitching company does not address that, usually the angels will shut down in their mind. They may not tell you, but they're just not going to invest unless the entrepreneur recognizes that every product has competition. It's how you deal with the competition. The mere fact you recognize it wins you lots of points. So the existence of competition is not a problem. Yuri said something I think that's important. You had a couple videos in yours, and one area I disagree. When you have a video of being on Dragon's Den, that's probably the one and only time that we'd recommend having a video. I'm with Angel Investors Ontario. We prohibit the use of videos and presentations because 9 times out of 10, they screw everything up, and it's a problem. And I'll give a resource I'll have one more question for you, but I'll give you a resource that's very useful. We have on our website, angelinvestorsontario.ca, 5 short videos advising entrepreneurs how to pitch to angels, some do's and some don'ts. And so I'd recommend to everybody in the audience, if you're about to pitch, go and look at these 5 short videos at angelinvestorsontario.ca, and they'll cover some of this. The question, I guess, the competition was my main point, but second point would have been your addressable market. You came up with the 400 million, but you, in your explanation, it was slash per year. And for me, I lost the rationale of why every year you would have 400 million in sales when there's X amount of people and only so many joining the cohorts of young students or others that are getting into the sport. So I'd maybe ask you to just answer that question on that calculation.
Yeah, that market slide really does need to be simplified. So as I mentioned, the lifespan of the vest is about 2 years on abusive cases. And so and then there's new people joining all the time. The average lifespan, the average length of time someone is in a martial art program can be as low as 6 months or about a year and a half. So if you cut it down the middle at a year, and when you join, you typically buy new equipment, and so you factor into that new students coming in, and so that, and then the 2-year refresh cycle. That's kind of how we got to the 400 million. The numbers are there; they're broken down, but I think I'll make that a little bit more clear.
Perfect. One last question.
Hey, Ali, great presentation. Just maybe not a question, but maybe a comment. So you're looking at a market share of about 400 million, 83,000 clubs across the world. Maybe just one slide about, I saw in the beginning you said you didn't have a marketing team, you didn't have a team for that. So just if you're trying to reach such a big audience, such a big market, what's your plan for marketing to all these clubs, is your team going to grow? What's the expenses for trying to grab such a big market?
Yeah, I tried to do that. There's a kind of 7 or 11 different ways, distributors, my own social media network, athlete ambassadors, but that can be done better as well, sure.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ali.
Oh, yeah. I think Jeffrey wanted to kick, yeah.
We'll do that after. Everybody's allowed to come up and take one shot. It's got a long lifetime, so I'm pretty good at that. I can handle it, I think. Okay, Yuri, you're up, buddy. Welcome, Yuri, everybody. Let's welcome. I won't put you on a timer.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's all good. Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming out and supporting this great event. I just wanted to really quickly say thank you to the organizers of the event, the Open Ninja Network. Fantastic initiative, really. For myself, really getting exposed to it more recently, but it's a great initiative in terms of what's trying to be done here. We often say at NACO that building companies, investing in companies, going through the hard pains of that growth journey is a labor of love. Building a network like this one is also very much a labor of love, and so we really, I think, should give a big hand to the organizers here today. For those of you who don't know, NACO is the National Angel Capital Organization, and that means that we're the national body, the national federation or industry association, if you will, for the angel investor community in Canada. We have about 4,000 members right now and about 43 networks across the country that participate as part of our organization. What we do really is try to help the investors be better investors over time so that they can help support the companies more effectively. And so we do that through a combination of education, research that we conduct, and also connections that we make with the investors to each other to help their companies, but sometimes just to really find peers that they can network with and build relationships with. One of the biggest initiatives that we undertake every year in order to grow this network and in order to connect our members together is what we call our World Angel Investment Summit. For those of you who might not have heard of it already, it is something that is very kind of much within the angel community, so you're forgiven for not knowing about it. But this year, it's important to note that it will be happening in Toronto as part of Elevate Festival. And so we, knowing kind of what the team at Elevate was trying to accomplish this year, we decided to join forces with them and see if we can't bring our 700 angels together with the, I think, 10,000 people that they're aiming to bring together for Elevate. So for those of you who haven't yet heard of these initiatives and might benefit from it, I strongly encourage you to look at attending one of those. Beyond that, I definitely encourage you to go to our website if you want to learn a little bit more about the perspective of angel investors as startups. If you're looking to learn about how to structure deals, we have a Common Docs initiative on our website where you can learn more about that. If you're looking to learn more about what angel investors are out there in the market, we also have a public directory which might be helpful to you. Beyond that, there are many great angel groups right here in the city of Toronto, and I strongly encourage you to reach out to all of those. So thank you very much, and I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Thanks, Yuri. Okay, so next up, we're going to have Paddle. Big welcome. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, ramp it up. Let's go. Some energy. All right, man.
Where do you want me?
Yeah, you can go here if you want.
Perfect.
You can use the mic.
That's good.
All right, there's the clicker. Give me 2 seconds. This baby.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. I'm Pat Whalen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Paddle HR. And what we do at Paddle is we work with large organizations to match their current employees to new jobs within that same company. So we do this because the number one reason why people leave their jobs is they're not sure what to do next in their career. So 42% of people that leave their job or do so because they don't see future career growth opportunities within the organization. And this is a really expensive problem. So it costs, on average, $29,000 to replace an employee in a Fortune 1000 company. So that's between 6 and 9 months of someone's salary. Just to do some quick math for you, that's about a $22 million a year problem in an organization of about 10,000 employees. So it's a really expensive problem, and there aren't a lot of great tools. And so this is where Paddle comes in. And so what we've done is we've trained AI to predict what an employee is going to do next. We've trained it using 330 million people's public career histories. And we use those recommendations to find jobs across the organization that an employee would be well suited for. And we serve that recommendation up to employees before they start to look outside the company with the goal of lowering attrition. So our products are really twofold. We have an analytics product and an internal job board. So I'm going to show you both of those. So the first one is an analytics dashboard for HR leaders to understand how people are moving in the organization. So this is a complicated chart. I'll explain to you what you're looking at. On the left-hand side, so sort of right above me, this is the starting position. So in this case, we're looking at call center reps within a telecom. As you move to the right, you can see the different roles that the candidate takes within the organization. So right now, this is a bit of a black box for organizations. Generally, they'll have like a top line stat. They'll know that 4 out of the 10 people they hire at any given time are internal candidates versus external candidates. But when you try and drill down on that and you try and find where that's happening, what level at the organization is it happening, which business unit is it happening, they don't have answers. And so what our technology has done is leverage our data and the client's data to figure out where this is happening. So I'll give you just an example of this one we're looking at. This is call center reps. The middle band there, I don't know if you can see it all, but the middle band that goes blue to green, that's assistant store manager to store manager. That was a total shock to everyone involved. And the reason was because people were quitting their jobs in the call centers and walking into their local retail store with a resume. And so business units didn't know this was going on. HR didn't know this was going on. This is the kind of insights that HR is able to identify using this tool. Where the rubber really hits the pavement with this solution is giving the same information to employees. So we do that through an internal job board. You can sort of see it here above me. It's meant to look and function just like a job board would, except we layer on some insights. And so for every particular job, we're able to say, here is a candidate's match strength. We're able to show them how their skills compared to the skills most commonly found with that job. We're able to show them how that job leads to future career paths in the organization. And we actually push those recommendations out also via email before they're at risk of leaving the organization. So the goal is really to help them consider opportunities within the company before they start to look outside the company. So as I mentioned, there aren't a lot of great tools. Right now, HR is using HR information systems. They're big databases. Workday, SuccessFactors, Oracle, PeopleSoft own this. And these systems are really good at process management. They're really good at managing data. They're not very good at delivering insights. And so we build on top of that. We take the data out of those systems. We add it with our 330 million career histories. And we deliver insights to help people move internally. Right now, HR doesn't have this. So what they're doing is they're doing a bunch of ad hoc things. So they may post jobs internally first, or they may write a blog post about the SVP that started on the factory floor. But they don't have great tools, and that leaves 88% of companies to not have any formal program around lateral mobility. So we're working with 3 really big companies. We're working with one of Canada's top 3 telecoms. We're working with the top 3 global CPG, and we're working with a top Canadian retailer. All of these companies are about 25,000 employees or more. The CPG is actually 150,000 employees. And we've closed pilot deals with all 3, so we've earned about $115,000 in pilot revenue. These deals alone are worth $260K ARR when the pilots roll over at the end of this year. I want to share with you just a little bit of what we've been learning from these clients. One is that the ROI is super clear. So we usually go into a sales meeting with a big slide that shows that 22 million. We calculate the ROI for them, and we're expecting some pushback. But what we find is that HR really understands how expensive this problem is, and they understand that the link between better career pathing is going to increase retention. And so they really understand this problem. We're not selling internal mobility. We're selling software to help make it go better, go quicker. The second piece of it is that internal HR data is really messy. Just to give you like a stat, that 26,000 person telecom, they have about 5,000 unique job titles in that organization. So there's not a lot of clean data. And so we add a lot of value just by classifying and organizing data. Part of our machine learning does that. And the other piece of this is that HR thinks that their data is even messier than it is. So they have, I call it HR data shame, but they have a sense that their data is valueless. And so what we do is really make the case that there's actually a lot of insight there, and our technology can help bring it out. And the third the third learning is that the problem is not evenly spread. So there are winners and losers within the organization. There are some departments that do this really, really well, and other departments that do it terribly. And so organizations that only have that macro level stat are missing a big opportunity to keep employees in their organization longer. So behind those 3 customers is a number of other Fortune 1000 companies. These brands give you a sense of the type of company we're talking about. So they're large Fortune 1000 companies with at least 2,500 employees. Generally, they're organizations that can move employees around and add value. So there's some transferable skills there. Think about it in a bank. If you're good at analyzing public markets, you're probably good at analyzing debt products and things like that. There's a similar toolkit you can bring with you. Broader, the market is about a $1 billion a year annual revenue opportunity. I've kind of done a little bit of math here for you, broken out different sized organizations and how many exist. This is US data, and what those average contract sizes would be at our price point. We charge $20 per employee per year in licensing fees. So this is a bit about the team. So I'm the CEO. I lead a lot of our customer interactions, a lot of our sales work. My background is actually in the world of politics and bringing data to the world of politics. So I'm having a very special thrill speaking at this podium right here. My co-founder, Sid, is a Waterloo engineer. He's worked at consultancies building enterprise-grade technology for banks and governments. And Navneet Bala is our head of data science. He's a postdoctoral fellow at Harvard and Cornell and has used machine learning in a number of different disciplines. Behind this team is a great group of sales folks and a number of engineers as well. So just to give you a sense of where we are today, we've been tackling this market for about a year. In that amount of time, we've closed these 3 customers. We've been backed by accelerators both here in San Francisco and here in Toronto, and we raised a bit of money. But the next 6 to 9 months are really crucial for our business. So we're looking to raise $500,000. We're looking to get 3 new customers, so we're about halfway on our sales goals this year. And we're looking to convert existing pilots. And so both the telecom and the CPG are planning to roll over in December, and the retailer shortly after that. So as I mentioned, we're looking to raise $500,000. We've got $115,000 committed to date. So that's why we're here today. And then just in summary, this is a big and expensive problem for organizations. There aren't great tools. We use AI to really map out how people move in their careers and present them to employees at the right time. And we've closed 3 huge clients that are worth $115,000 in pilot revenue and $260,000 in annual recurring revenue when full implementation comes out. So I'll pause there and yield my time to the floor for questions.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, who wants to start? Jay.
Your worship.
As the guy sitting in the mayor's chair. Okay, a couple things. One of the things I would like to see is what size company is kind of your sweet spot. So you've got, Royal Bank with 90,000 employees and TD. I happen to work for Royal Bank. I get emails monthly to discuss my career and my career path and everything else. I think they do a very good job of identifying people kind of going through that path and moving forward. So I think it's important to spend a little time not trying to be all things to all people, but find out where your sweet spot is. And I obviously you're looking for companies that don't already have this in place. So as opposed to that shotgun approach where you're just kind of trying to hit everybody, a more focused approach on trying to find that sort of that ideal numbers at 25,000 employees, at 15, and then finding what that kind of revenue per employee is, and really driving hard and going deep into that marketplace, because a lot of those bigger companies that you had have a lot of this already in place. So I think it's just finding that focus of kind of where do you want to spend your energy versus just kind of running all over downtown Toronto and just kind of see what sticks. So that's kind of my main comment.
Thanks for the feedback.
My thoughts really echo a lot of what Jay just said, but Pat, I do want to say you presented very well, so good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
What I did want to understand a little bit more is your business model. I think you touched on it a little too briefly. You probably want to go into further depth. You also spoke about your pilots. That's great that you had it with the 3 large companies, but maybe talk about how you procured these pilots. Also talk about your sales cycle. Also talk about the companies in your pipeline, what stage you're at with each of them, because it's nice to throw big names out there, but as Jay was saying, you really want to understand which department, who is your target, who are you selling to, and all of that. At the end of it, you talked about $500K, just maybe elaborate as to where that money is going. But other than that, I think you did a good job.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Pat. Yeah, definitely I agree with a lot of the comments that were said before. I think the one thing that I would go into a little bit of depth on a little bit more would be in terms of your business model. She talked about it, but like, how do you actually generate your revenues? Like, what is it that you're doing to kind of convert these over? And the reason why I focus on that point is because there's a lot of companies that have been trying to tackle the HR space for a long time, but I think a lot of investors will want to know what successes have been had in that space and what the models are to getting there, and that you know them and that you're following them. And I'm going to stop speaking before that kind of starts to backfire on me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, who has some questions from the audience? Oh, you don't need a mic, do you?
Why should I invest in you? Yeah, that's a very blunt question. I think that the biggest reason is that this is a huge opportunity in terms of the size of the problem. So organizations largely are operating under a talent model that's dramatically changing. So they have set up the way that they hire people based on the idea that people stay for a very long time. And due to things like job automation and cultural trends towards wanting to switch jobs more frequently, this is breaking. And so organizations need to bring kind of fluidity to how talent moves around, or they're going to lose their best talent. And so I think that is the one thing that I have learned beyond all else, is that this is a really big problem that keeps HR leaders up at night. And it's a bit of a vacuum in terms of a technology solution, which is why HR companies like RBC are investing in either homegrown solutions or ad hoc methods off the side of the desk of someone in HR. So it's a kind of the wild, wild west out there right now. There is no leader or vendor that is really offering this in a serious way, and it's a huge opportunity. So I think that's the biggest reason.
Okay.
Hi, Pat. Can you answer the questions about the sales cycle, who you're selling to, the length of the cycle, and what people are buying?
Yeah, so I would say companies are, let's just call them in 3 different stages of their preparedness for something like this. There are companies, let's say like GE and Citibank are like this. They identified this problem early and have spent $1 million, $2 million on a homegrown technology solution early. So they're kind of already there. Maybe there's a way to say that ours is better and we can get that sale. Then there's the group that we've been successful with, which have identified the problem now and have allocated budget towards it. In that case, you're talking 4 to 6 months, and a lot of that is on the due diligence side of it, so going through legal, procurement, data security, et cetera. Then there's where the vast majority is, the third bucket, which is they know this is a problem, but they haven't built a business case around it. They haven't allocated budget towards it. They may not have identified an internal leader for this yet. Those are taking longer. So there's a lot of organizations that are in that group that we talk to because they're interested. This is a problem that really matters to them, but they have yet to kind of get serious. And so those, I suspect those are going to be on the longer side, 6 to 9 months, maybe 12 months in the worst case scenario. So we're still learning what that is, but for us, our strategy has been talk to a decent number to figure out where companies sit on that preparedness spectrum, you might call it, and find the companies that are starting to allocate budget but haven't decided to spin up an internal engineering team to build something and make the case that buying is going to be stronger because of our expertise and our data set.
Any other questions? Jay, go ahead.
Have the companies that you're working with now said that they would allow you to use them as you go out to find new clients? Whatever company A has said, yeah, please, you can go tell company B and C that you're working with us? Are they giving you that permission?
They haven't yet. We have a provision in our contract to deal with that kind of situation when it comes up, and they're waiting for more results first. So it's not that they don't want to do that. It's a risk-adverse culture in HR, as you can imagine. And these pilots are, in the grand scheme of Fortune 1000 companies, smaller pilots that detract from their core message. So it doesn't mean that we won't have it today, but that's why I didn't mention them in my pitch.
For your the companies that you do have pitching, or sorry, the companies that you're pitching, when you go in and speak to them, are you doing it divisionally? So you're going in and working with just IT only? Are they giving you data for the entire company? So for instance, you go to Canadian Tire, they love what you're doing. Do they start off small? Jay, is that your stomach? It's the pizza, right? It's the pizza. Do they start off with a small segment of the company, or are they going right in and they're giving you the 150,000 Loblaws, the million employees, they're saying, take all of this, scrub the data, and come back with something interesting?
2 of them, it's central HR, so they deal with the sort of global scope of the company and are dealing with everyone, and so that's their intention. They start with a smaller pilot, but the intention is to roll out everywhere. Other organizations, specifically multinationals, they split HR across the different divisions, and so there it's more of it's not a department, it's more of a geographic division that you're selling to first. And so we're learning how to navigate those organizations as well.
And how are you, maybe you can give some tips to the audience, how are you getting out in front of these guys? Because everybody wants to know how to sell to these big fish.
Totally.
You're going right at them, how are you doing that?
The old-fashioned way, a little bit. It's cold outreach. This problem, again, is top of mind for HR leaders. And so when you send them an email and say, I've got a career pathing solution that leverages big data, they'll take the meeting. And that's generally how it's been. What I would say has been a big part of our success is getting multiple champions within the same organization so that when they start doing this internal conversations, they go, oh yeah, I spoke with those folks as well, and I know them, and I saw that. So that's been very helpful and valuable. And closing business.
So is this your sales team approaching it this way, or are you doing this and starting it off? How are you? I think here everybody wants to know, like, do I have to send 1 million emails? Do I have to send them a written letter? Like, what is my best way to get in the door? Do I build a relationship, take them for a drink? What do I got to do?
We've been sending a ton of emails and going to trade shows, and that's been the gist of it. We're starting to use a self-service version, a trial version of our site. We found that we can get people off of LinkedIn ads to come on and use it, and we're hoping that will bring more inbound. But right now, this problem is it's a really big problem that HR cares about, and so cold outreach has been pretty effective.
Okay, great. We're going to cut there because I think that's, if you guys do have other questions, by all means, please bring them to the entrepreneurs. They're going to be upstairs. But Pat, thank you. That was great.
Thank you. Cheers. That was fun.
How many of you guys are entrepreneurs? Working, building your own company? Well, like 5 of you? Come on. You guys are all business people? You're all going to start using paddle? All right. Right now what we do is we have a segment where it's called the 30-second elevator pitch. So, first 6 companies that come up, line up here, and you guys get to pitch for 30 seconds who you are, what your business is all about, and what you're doing. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, right in here, right in here. Apparently we don't want to be near that camera, so we want to be right in here. So, yeah, just line up and we're good to go. All right, perfect. You guys are all in. I can't count, so we're all good.
And since it's only taken me an hour and a half to calm my nerves, you guys got 30 seconds to throw what you're doing. So I'm going to time it. Your name, what your company's all about, whatever else you want to throw out, but those are the key pieces. Ready?
Hi, my name is Joy, and my company's name is Wild Skincare. We have a range of natural, organic skincare, and we market it with character and style to millennial women. And I think that's what's lacking in the industry. It's not mom and pop shop or made in your kitchen. It's fun. We're trying to make skincare fun. We're already in 120 stores in less than 2 years with zero marketing. So it's been word of mouth, and hopefully we can get some investment to bring us to the next level.
And your name is?
My name is Joy.
Awesome.
Hello, my name is Eric. I'm from Real News, and Real News is a citizen journalism enabling platform that brings news back to the hands of the people. We're trying to de-evolve news from a corporate-spun, biased, bloated advertising world and make news fun for the people again. It's an advertising-free platform, and we're just launching our beta right now, so we're pretty happy about that. Eric.
Awesome.
Hello, my name is Alexia, and I'm with Unicorns for Unity, and we are a company that develops online content to empower creativity in youth and wellness. So we also develop various online content, and our next venture is a co-working space within the city of Toronto.
Your name is?
Alexia Cito.
My name is Martin. My business is Neutral Advocate. We, as a third-party neutral, we work with customers and service providers in the IT services space. As an advocate, we advocate for great process and great outcomes to reduce the wastage and grow the value pie. Our key strategies are joint accountability between teams, collaborative versus adversarial. Martin West, neutraladvocate.com. Try our tools.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hamza, and I'm crapping my pants. But in addition to that, I'm the founder of a fitness education company called Altius Fitness. Basically, what my company does is if I ask you guys if you're exercising enough right now, probably a lot of you will say no. And oftentimes, the reason for that is because you believe you're busy. But when we look at successful people like Elon Musk and Gary Vee, they're able to exercise. So I solved that problem. Hamza Fassi, thank you.
Hi, my name is Artem. I'm founder of New Track Advertising Agency. We offer advertise businesses on vehicles and private properties. We pay people to drive that ads on their cars. Visit our website newtrackad.com or just try Google get paid while you drive, and we will be on the top 3 of that search. Thank you. Artem, A-R-T-E-M.
Hi, I'm Ezra. I'm developing an AI AR esports game coach athlete for mobile esports athletes in high school that want to get a scholarship in colleges across North America. We partner up with Lambton College, providing the service to their esports athletes, and we have a beta coming soon. Check me out. We're a tech company, and yeah.
Awesome. Your name?
Karakin Ezra Day.
Awesome. Thank you. Big hand for these guys for coming up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, next up, we're going to have our panel. So we're going to have Drew, Emma, and Altair, if you guys can come up to the front, and Angelo. Woo, woo, woo. We removed you for fun. Take one of these mics. Angelo? Test. Good.
Test.
All right, so today I welcome you guys, and maybe what we'll do is we'll start with Drew. Why don't you give us a quick intro of who you are and what you do? 30-second elevator pitch.
My name is Drew Henson. I'm from Seam Technique. We're a personal safety technology company with a mobile app and wearable technology. We allow you to share where you are, what you see, and what you hear, giving you the power to share context with your loved ones, something that's going on with you.
So my name is Altair Iafi. I'm the founder of Iafi Biotechnologies. Last year we launched Indazone Energy. It's a natural health product. Looks something like this. It's approved to improve brain performance, and it's made in Canada. All the ingredients are naturally occurring. We just launched it last year on Amazon, and now it's the best seller in the stimulants category in the country on Amazon.ca.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angelo. Give me one of those. I don't need any, but I'm Angelo Del Duca, part of the Open People Network, and love to connect with companies. I've been doing it throughout my career. I won't tell you how long that's been because it's way too long. And I'm really, what drives me is sitting down with entrepreneurs and companies and seeing how I can help in getting them to the next stage.
Hi everyone, pleasure to be here. My name is Emma Harris. I am the founder of a company called Healthy Pets, which is Canada's first application of telemedicine for veterinary care. So we connect local vets with pet owners through on-demand video telemedicine. If you're a pet owner, check it out. I operate my business out of Toronto. I've known Angelo from York Angels and Frank and Jeffrey for many years. Wait, has it been many years? At least a year now. Time flies. And I got my start on Dragon's Den. Raised $500,000 from Arlene Dickinson's venture fund a couple months, 6 months ago now. And here to share my experience.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. So today we want to talk about what the role of mentors and the ecosystem have done for you guys. So maybe, Emma, I think you've got a great story. Maybe you can jump in and kind of give us an idea of how you found the last year, the road when you first started, when we first met, to where you've come now and all the people that have kind of influenced you. And do you think that you had to throw yourself into this space, or did it just come natural and you were like, man, this is easy? Maybe you can kind of give everybody a little feedback on that experience.
Okay, sure. I actually didn't know this was the topic, and it's perfect because Angelo was my first mentor. So he and I met when I was literally just starting out. I don't think I had a product, but I went to an angel investors networking event in Toronto. Not York Angels, it was called Maple Leaf Angels, but another great group. And it wasn't easy. I don't think it's ever easy when you're learning how to pitch your company in 30 seconds or explain your value proposition concisely in a way that a person who might not resonate with the problem point that you're solving, they might not resonate it with for personal reasons. But fortunately for me, my first experience with Angelo was great because he's a big cat guy, if you didn't know. Yeah, he was my first mentor, and we connected on a personal level. Obviously, he's a great business person, but he's also a great person. And I think that the game you play when you're starting to build your network of mentors is similar to that when you're raising your first round of funding. It's a numbers game. So maybe you'll go to 10 events, and at one you'll find somebody who you really connect with. And that's okay, because those connections are the ones that really support you, and hopefully you can likewise support back to them somehow. Meeting Angelo and then Frank and then you, Jeff, it got me to where I am today, because although I didn't end up taking money from their great angel group, it did help me prepare for the money that I did take to grow my company. Mentors are invaluable. I have one who at one point in the company changed the game for me. And I am truly indebted to my small but fantastic network of mentors and advisors. And I don't think that their value can be overstated, truly. When you find one you connect with, latch onto them because they're rare. And the best ones, like Angelo, are truly doing it because they want to help, and you can't ask for more.
Awesome. Drew, why don't you jump in there next and grab some of that and share what your experiences have been too with mentors and going forward?
Mentors change the game. You know, like for me, I come from a background of hardware design and technology design. I'd been designing action cameras for about a decade out of London, had some great successes there. And one of my mentors at the time taught me, you know, depending on what you're doing, the most amazing people in the world are the people that know the rules well enough to start breaking the rules. And in any industry, in my mind, I can learn the rules of how to create. I can learn the rules of how to develop and design. And that'll get me as far as having a product. But then beyond that, I need to learn the rules of marketing. I need to learn the rules of sales. I need to learn the rules of building a team and scaling. And these are the sort of things that mentors in each of those fields will be able to teach you those rules you can learn to break. And the same thing is said about startups and raising money. As a CEO, my job now is far removed from only designing. It's making sure the product is there. But first and foremost, it's making sure there's money in the bank to pay for everything else, to pay for all my staff. And when we go, and when I go to meetings, fundraising meetings, it's a different ballgame. It's a different ballgame when you talk to an angel group and in an angel committee meeting. It's a different ballgame when you have one-on-one meetings with people. And it's even just a different game when you're trying to raise money off family friends. Because if you don't know the terminology, you're going to look stupid. And having mentors around help you navigate those waters and just get to where you need to be a lot more certainly. Yeah, so they're indispensable.
That's good. That's awesome. Altair?
I'd have to agree that mentors are definitely incredibly important, and they can have a huge impact, a profound impact on your company and on your venture, especially when you're at the early stages. You're still trying to learn everything, and everything seems like it's a bit of chaos. It's really important to have someone who, on one hand, is encouraging, but also can point out your weaknesses and be blunt and let you know exactly what you need to work on, rather than just sugarcoating everything. So when I started the company, even to this point, I'm the founder. I'm the only full-time employee right now. So I've kind of scrambled this all together by myself, but I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have incredible guidance from great mentors who are very honest and giving me great advice, always pointing me in the right direction, connecting me with the right people as well. So that's incredibly important. And in terms of whether it's easy or hard, I'd say, from my experience, finding great mentors is a lot easier than finding bad mentors, because you'd find that generally people who are willing to mentor you and they want to mentor you, they're out there to coach you and to help you out, and that's kind of an intrinsic part that they have going for them. So as long as you kind of open up to them and let them know that you're ready to be coached, I find the great mentors are always ready to help you out and make that time for you and steer you in the right direction, because they get some value out of it as well, and they find it really rewarding. So that's been my experience so far, and I think it's always great to always try to grow your network and try to find more mentors, because that kind of support is incredibly valuable.
Perfect. You made a really interesting point where you were saying that you need to be open up and share. So Angelo, from your end, on the other side of it, the perspective of how do you work with all of these great entrepreneurs, these young people, and help them, I guess, be vulnerable, open up, share a little bit so you can actually make a connection. How do you do that? How do you get people interested in what you know and to feel comfortable so that you can guide them through this journey?
Actually, the whole line of opening up is actually really important. So prior to getting into the whole angel environment, I was at IRAP at NRC, and one of my clients one time when we were being interviewed on BNN, and this was an amazing company that grew from 6 people to close to 500 people, and they asked them the question, well, is it tough going through this whole engagement with these guys, these advisors, right? And to a large degree, I view them as being mentors, right? And the entrepreneur provided a line, and he said, yeah, you know, they'll want you to open up your kimono and show them everything you've got, because that's the only way that they can really find out how to help you. And to a large degree, being a mentor is about that, really digging deep on everything that you're involved in. What keeps you up at night? What's causing that pain and anxiety, and how to help out. When I look at when I had my own company, I had the luxury of, even though we were a very small company, we were involved in microelectronics, and Motorola allowed us to reside in their facility free of rent and all of that wonderful stuff. It's great to have connections. And I would have mentors coming to me quite often, and they would come and they would tell me all of the wonderful things I was doing, which I was proud of, but I would always tell them, this has been really great. I hope we can have a coffee in the future, but next time, can you come and tell me what I'm doing wrong? Because why am I still here? So so the role of the mentor is to really find that inflection point. What will cause you to change? But you have to take it with a grain of salt. We don't all have the right answers, right? You could potentially meet 10 mentors, and I've come across where helping one group say, well, why are you doing it that way? You should really be looking at doing it this way. Well, that's the way I had it, but this other guy told me I should do it this way. And invariably, I'll shift, and then another one will shift. So at the end of the day, it's all about the entrepreneur taking that advice and weighing it and determining, yeah, I agree, I think this makes sense or not. So it's really a partnership. And the amazing thing about meeting Emma for the first time, which was at Curbside, the first thing that we had, and you had a real short period of time to engage with each other, and the first thing she said to me was, I heard about you. I'm not here for money. I just want to talk to you. I want to get together with you. And so kudos to Emma, because she's had that strategy. And every time, the quality mentorship is all about outcomes on both sides. So a good mentor should provide you with a yardstick of what you need to achieve. And similarly, the entrepreneur should really get you to do something to propel that growth.
Oh, that's great. So, Emma, when you first started to talk to Angelo and you sourced out Angelo as being that guy, what were the criteria you were looking for? Because it's important for people out there now that are starting their new, fresh company and they're looking for mentors. They can go up to anybody and say, hey, I want you as a mentor. What things were you actually looking for? What made Angelo stand out other than his good looks and his sharp mind? What were those things that stood out for you?
Yeah, I feel like getting started in business is like getting started in finding your husband or your wife. Like, it's a process of numbers, and it's a numbers game. And no, but seriously, because I did know Angelo going in, but I didn't know if he was weird or if he was like cool or if he was friendly or not. I had just heard about him. And so you want to go into every meeting with a standard list of talking points and questions that are relevant to that person. So I'm not going to ask Angelo something that I know through some background research he's never dived into, because that's obviously not of interest to him. But then it's honestly a process of getting to know one another. So at the end of that, I think it was, how long is Curbside? Like 5 minutes? That 5-minute meeting. You just extended your card to me, and then we met thereafter, and that's when I really got to know him And because I think one of the best ways entrepreneurs can spend their time when they're getting out is through networking events, you and I, and that's where I met Frank, just happened to be at another event maybe a month later or so where we could continue that conversation. And so it's truly just about, do your personalities clicked? I've been in the exact same scenario where I was just ready to run, you know, that's about it. And even if your business evolves and you don't see each other as often anymore, like, they are now friends. They are coming to my wedding in a few weeks. Like, it's an amazing process.
Drew, you want to jump in on that? I think you've had a few mentors in your time, and you've certainly grown around that, and I find that you've built an approach just like Emma's, where you went in to figure out who you were looking for. You did some research, which I think the key term here is do some research on who you're going to work with. You want to take it from there, Drew?
Yeah, absolutely. Because for them to take you on and take you seriously, everything to them is in natures of 30-second pitches, elevator pitches. So in the first conversations you have with them, you can't really waste their time by asking them about things that are just not relevant, you know? And certain conversations are geared towards startups at certain times, you know? If you're scaling up on a seed round and you're looking for angel investors and you're pre-revenue, these guys are aces at that. These guys are exceptional at that. If you're a company looking for more Series A, Series B, continuation, scaling round, and you go to them looking for those kind of conversations, well, that's not what they're here to talk about. They're here to talk about angel groups and here to talk about seed rounds. So being conscious about your audience at all point in times is something that I actually learned from the mentor. And when you approach new mentors, having the conversations with them to just find out where that alignment really is and understanding for yourself, what is it I actually think I want to learn, and guiding the questions in that direction. Otherwise, you're probably going to have a good wasted amount of time if you just kind of start stumbling around and start throwing things out there and just asking random questions. So for me, I found it helped a lot by understanding. And, you know, Jeffrey starts off every single pitch the same way. Go look at my LinkedIn. It's that simple. You can go look at his LinkedIn. You can understand what he has to talk about, you know. And when you talk to Frank and when you talk to Angelo, they all have very different specialities, and they have a different way of approaching the conversations. And you can, even though they're all in the same team individually, they offer individual mentorship approaches. And so being conscious about that when you talk to teams is also something that's important.
No, for sure. Altair, when you were working with your first mentor, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but when you started working with them, did you start to look for pieces that they were in the same vertical that you were in? They were working the things that you did. Or did you look for other type of skills that fit with the need that you had at that moment, which might have been sales or getting at Amazon? How did you approach that?
You should be the first part, working with who?
Your first mentor. When you started working with your first mentor, what did you choose to do? Were you looking for them? Did you dig into them?
Mentor. Yep. So my first mentor was actually, while I was doing my MBA at Queen's, it was one of my marketing professors. His name is Ken Wong. And after I graduated last year, I kind of approached him and asked him for general advice. And he's in the Marketing Hall of Legends. Like, this guy is like a very incredible resource to have, and he's been open enough to just give me that bit of advice there. And I think that he just kind of noticed that I was really looking for advice and looking for some coaching, and at that point I just asked him to formally come on board with as an advisor. And I was very fortunate in that regard, and he's been very, very supportive ever since from that point. And when I met with, actually, my introduction to OPN was through Frank. That was a bit later on, and I remember the first night I met Frank. It was at a York Angels meeting, and one of the things that really attracted me to this sort of circle of just mentorship and support was the passion with which Frank was conversing with one of the entrepreneurs that night, and he was giving him some advice. You could tell it was coming from the bottom of his heart. And from there, it kind of just really resonated how much he cares about this space and how much he cares about entrepreneurship and startups. And that's what really drew me in over there. And they've been very supportive and always great advice, always welcoming, and always very honest and sometimes blunt, but in a very useful way. So that was kind of my progress with and experience there.
No, that's awesome. So I think overall the big thing for everybody is you're looking for a mentor. make sure you drill them, make sure you understand a bit about them before you go to them, learn a bit about how they operate, what they were good at before, maybe where they invest, so that they can actually help you. You don't want to go to someone that was in pharmaceuticals when your business is selling bananas. Maybe it doesn't work the same way. Maybe they won't have the same connections you're looking for and be able to understand your business. So those things are going to be good. One of the things that ties this all up, I guess, the last thing that I'll ask is, how did the ecosystem help you? Did you find that you needed to get out and pitch? Did your mentors push you? Did you want to be out on the circuit every day? Did the ecosystem get behind you? Or did you just stay home and social media feed the hell out of what you're doing and everything worked out great? Drew, you want to jump on that, please?
In terms of specifically mentorships for startup communities, it helped me understand how to tailor the message for the various environments that I would be in. I felt as though I had a great understanding of what it is I wanted and where I wanted to take it, but my system's a bit complex and there's multiple product points. And having somebody fact check strategically which product you should be talking about, what is it that these people want to hear in the 11 minutes that you have to talk to them? You know, what is it they don't want to hear in the 11 minutes you have to talk to them? And that's very different from group to group even. And so having somebody that can help you navigate that in your own backyard has been priceless. And, you know, some people convert, some people don't convert. But it put me in a position where I was able to learn from each of the experiences what was going wrong so I could make the next one better. Otherwise, sometimes I didn't really understand why I wasn't getting the results I wanted sometimes, and they were able to help me navigate those waters. So for me specifically, targeting my audience with messaging that was relevant was very important, and it helped me get that through.
Altair, how about yourself? Are you finding now that you're in the ecosystem, you've got investment, you're trying to grow your company? Have you been going out to a lot of events, meeting a lot of people, trying to get out in front of as many ecosystems, entities in all the geographic regions in Ontario, or how has that been working?
I think that with any opportunity that comes up that's feasible, that's within reasonable reach, it's always a great idea to try to jump on it. Whether it's a pitch, whether it's a networking event, whether it's these kinds of events that OPN puts on are a prime example of a great place to meet people, bounce ideas around, get feedback, learn from other people, and also get your name out a little bit as well. But overall, these kinds of things where you grow and meet incredible contacts, whether it's advisors or investors. I think that practicing a pitch, whether it's a small group or an actual angel group, do it as often as you can, and that's really one of the best ways to learn and grow. So these ecosystems are incredible resources to put those things together, and anytime you can find these opportunities, I always recommend taking as many as possible. As long as you still have time to eat and sleep and get all the important things done, find an opportunity and always take it.
Come on, you don't need to eat and sleep. Those things come later. It's all about pitching. Emma, how about you? I know that you've pitched. I've seen you pitch in a lot of places across the GTA and elsewhere. Do you continue to do that after you raised? Is it something that's being identifiable? You want people to remember who you are, so you are trying to get out in the ecosystem more, educate and help. You did a great chat talk not too long ago, so do you continue to do these things? And does that help grow your business and grow your brand?
It depends. So I think that it's really easy to be sucked into the noise. You want to make sure any event you're going to, if there's an opportunity cost with that event, which there likely is, that you have a goal for that attendance. So you want to either be meeting somebody you came out to meet, supporting your business development through that event. I unfortunately see a lot of people who go to all the events, so maybe they're super well known, but those events either do not accomplish what they're meant to accomplish, or they otherwise take away from their productivity in the day-to-day business growth. And I think it's really easy to get sucked up into that. The events I went to a year ago when I was starting out are very different from the events I go to today, but nonetheless, going to different events, whether it be an event like this, a tech TO, a pitch competition, as I used to do many, are an amazing way to spend your time. It's something I really enjoy. So perhaps, an event like this is in replacement of an event, with a group of girlfriends, like having a cocktail, for example. Those are the trade-offs you can make. The events I went to a year ago were very much in favor of fundraising. So I raised about $100,000 in the early days through pitch competitions and grants. Today I don't do that, but I do go to events like these where they're a great way to meet a lot of people in a short amount of time, and otherwise support the people who have supported you previously, as I've alluded to. So all I would say is that when you're selecting the events you're going to go to, make sure there's an objective for that event. Don't get sucked into the hype, if you will.
No, that's valuable advice. I completely agree with that. Be selective and figure out exactly what you want out of it. The same thing with a meeting. If you're going to go meet someone for coffee, make sure you're going to learn something. Get a name. Get something out of that so you're not wasting anybody's time and you're able to move forward in what you're doing. Angelo, maybe just to wrap things up, do you want to give us kind of the group an idea of the types of things that you should look for when you're trying to find a mentor so that you can have those successes and be able to be like the 3 entrepreneurs up front where they've taken valuable input from a lot of great people and helped them grow their business? Any final recommendations?
I think you should look for people that have shared your pain. I always tell people that my wallet contains around 8 or 9 credit cards. It's not because I love a lot of credit cards, but I've had the same challenge running my own business of topping up my credit cards to make payroll at times. So you want to deal with an individual that has seen it, lived it, and can share on what they did to overcome it and plan a strategy in moving forward. And I think that there's real value in going to, and I'm going to give Yuri a plug here, to events like the NACO Summit. In fact, one of our first OPN clients actually was a direct result of the NACO event in Montreal. Frank listened to the pitch. JP came in, sat down with them, and it's been a really strong relationship, and we've actually helped them through that journey of getting funding, right? So pick a mentor that's not only done it before in terms of running a company, but also understands what is available within the whole ecosystem from an investment point of view, and is able to bring out a Rolodex like the one that Frank has, which is just, I'm in awe every time, because every time we go in and talk to a company, Frank will start out, well, you know, I know this guy who is actually the head of this, and it just starts to mushroom. And it's the same with Emma. I first met Frank at the Spark Angels, and whoa, you're with the Humane Society, and boom, and connect the two. And that connection and that linkages has proven to be very valuable. And I think it's also, that's the other element. It's not dictating what a solution is, but also providing a link and an intro that is valuable and that carries weight. And those things are, at times, could be intangible, but could be the key that actually makes you succeed.
Oh, that's great. So I think, guys, just to summarize all that, be open-minded, be vulnerable, have a bunch of mentors or a few mentors, figure out what works best for you, and find mentors that actually care, think about what you're trying to do, and can work with you. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever about mentorship and ecosystem, I'm sure these 3 guys will be waiting upstairs to have a chat with you, and Angelo too, I'm sure he'll talk about it, to talk with you guys if you have any more questions about should I get a mentor. I'll give you a quick story of myself. When I first started off, I was working at a startup, and I had just been going to move into my own startup. This was 11 years ago, and I had was sitting with a lawyer going through some stuff. And after we solved the little things that I had an issue with employment on, and I went into my startup, I sat down with him. He asked me to meet with him. I met with him. And at the end of the meeting, he turned to me and he said, I want to mentor you. And I was like, huh? Well, I'm just starting. What are you going to mentor on? So I was kind of new to all this. And he actually explained to me how he could help me and the good things that he could do and how he could help guide me through this startup phase. And I can tell you that it was the most valuable thing that I ever did, because I had an ear, I had someone that could listen to all the things that I was going through. And I just threw out just anything and everything, random. He probably got annoyed that I call him at all times of the day and night, but at the end of the day, it helped me solve problems quicker, faster, and it helped me connect with someone that was going through the similar things and sharing his experience, and I was able to learn quite a bit from that. So I'm a big fan of mentoring. Find one, let them help you out, and yeah, be vulnerable and see what they can do to help your business. So big round for the guys up front. Thank you very much for all your help. Just stay for now. We're going to do some photos in a sec. So the last thing we're going to do before we all jump into pizza, give me a sec here. I can't actually open my phone with my left hand. I can't swipe backwards. So for the draw tonight that we had for dinner with Frank and Angelo, or lunch if you prefer, is Rishma Quershi. And it's number 14's your favorite number? Is that you right there? Awesome. So you get to go for dinner with these guys. Make sure they pay. Make sure they pay. And on the t-shirt side, I'm going to let
Eric Christ from something.
Real news. Nice. Pitching and everything. That's good. All right, you got a t-shirt. Brilliant. So I want to thank everybody tonight for all the great pitches. Thank everybody that has come up to the panel. All the guys that have spoken from NACO, Barskin and Parr. Thank you very much to all of our sponsors and everybody that's participated and everybody for coming tonight. We appreciate all of your time. Hopefully you guys all got something out of tonight, learned a little bit, and we look forward to seeing you guys in August at our next event. And you can certainly make your way upstairs for networking and meet the other 22 startups that have come out tonight to showcase what they do. Thank you and have a great night.
Great turnout.
Yeah, great turnout, man. Thanks for letting me.